Hi everyone, this is Norman Kochnick here for Eyes on Cricket with Norman Kochnick. I'm here telecasting yet another broadcast. Of course, this game will in fact be between India and South Africa now. Australia versus England is over. I'm actually working from a new laptop today, so if you're seeing me differently, I'm actually on a new laptop. So I get to see a bit more than I normally do, which is kind of good. So my eyes might wander a bit because I'm not sure. I think that's the camera there. The camera's there, so I'm going to work out where the camera is. So, hoping to get play starting in some 12 minutes. It's going to be interesting to see what happens there. I'm assuming that there'll be no problems with that. The rain, of course, day 2 of the match between India and South Africa was totally rained out. You had a rather frustrating day for anyone watching. You could not see a ball being bowled, but you saw plenty of it in Australia's test match today. In fact, it was only an hour and a half to 2 hours of play, but we saw some 6 wickets falls this morning with Scott Boland on debut getting 6 wickets for 7 runs and some 4 overs. He broke all sorts of... What's going on here? I'll just try and log in there to see what's going on. I thought it was easily... Okay, so Scott Boland 6 for 7 off some 4 overs. He took 1 wicket for 48, I think, at the first innings. He's got a bowling average of 7, but he could well be one test wonder, which would be remarkable. To have him as a one test wonder, that's almost hard to comprehend. But because they've got Jai Richardson, who took 5 wickets, he may return. Michael Neese's there as well. Then you've got Hazel potentially coming back. He may not be the side strain. And Stark and obviously Cummins there as well with Lyon. Lyon, of course, and even talking about Swepson. I don't think that's a very smart move to bring Swepson back in, or back in, I should say. So here we are. We're looking like the game has already started. No, they're still showing replays here. They're showing Rahane batting on some 34 and he's just hitting runs. So India, of course, are 3 for 272. They're well and truly in command with Rahul on 122 not out, and then of course Rahane on 40. Now we've been knocking Rahane quite a bit. He's lost his vice captaincy to Rahul. It was even meant to be going to Rohit Sharma, but of course that may still see him as a potential situation. So normally the Ashes series is trying to prepare bowling friendly pitches. No, I don't know. Bash's Mahoney. I don't think they've done that. Boland is an MCG specialist, correct? 5-0, Paul Newman starting. Australia, Rari, Guthrie, well done, Australia team, making further hard luck doing it. There's not easy won't play beautiful. What a shit show today at the MCG. It was a shit show. I mean, 4 for 31. They can only muster another 37 runs. You had Ben Stokes looking okay, but he got out to a very good ball from Stark, and then it all just happened. Then Boland took some, I think, 5 wickets in a row. It was quite incredible the way that went, and you had an enormous number of wickets falling very, very quickly. Yeah, it was quite a disaster, actually, wasn't it? So, it's I've got myself as the backdrop there. Okay, all right. So, the 5 wickets that fell to Boland. I mean, he bowled very good line and length, and he does know the pitch. He took some good wickets and took the court and bowled as well, and then ultimately Green took the last wicket and England were up for 68. And there's some incredible stats that I'll talk about a bit later about that. But Australia now won 3-0. Well, at least they're leading 3-0. They've got 2 games left. They could, even fall to 3 for 2. I don't think so. And of course, they won the Ashes. They've actually not won, but they actually retained, or more so, no, not regained, retained the Ashes. We already had the Ashes. We've just retained it. So that's effectively where we're at the moment. So England all out for 185 and 68. I mean, even, dare I say it, Marnus Labuschagne got more runs on his batting effort. And India are now 3 for 272. So you're thinking pitch report, very flat and grass seamless. You're talking, Sharari, about the Indian tour, do you? Perhaps it was. Well, look, India beat Australia in Australian conditions, so they deservedly are number one in the world. New Zealand would deservedly be second still on the listing. Then third would have to still be, well, Australia and England, and then England. Australia for this series would then move to the third, and then England, and then the rest. Just quickly, guys, can you hear me loud and clear? Someone please make comment whether you can hear me loud and clear, because that's my only worry. You know, can you hear me loud and clear? Nobody's making comments saying, please go on. Can you hear me? I'm going to write myself. Can you? I can do it now. Can you hear me? Because I'm just checking this is a new apparatus I've got here, so you know I don't know what I can and can't hear. It's quite an impressive little thing I've got going on here. So can you hear me, guys? Norman Mitchell Spapson's Shield record matches 48 wickets, 149 bowled, average 33. He is Australia's future spinner. He has taken lots of wickets until the last 2 to 3 years. Okay, we'll see. We can hear loud and clear. Good. Okay, South Africa coming to Australia next summer. Yes. Yes. Okay. So yeah, Spapson's had this stress fracture of his upper shoulder area. In fact, it was it was something that how can I describe this? It was quite a serious matter. We talked to Adam Holyoke about this earlier in the year. You may remember that. We had that little chat. So, you know, it's an interesting little situation. I'm just going to just enter this in one of the guests. I'm going to get my little guest scenarios going. Let's see who we can get. One of the Chris Vernon's going to join us. I don't know whether he wants to. None of the English guys got the guts, I'm afraid. That's my impression. And Gurkrat Gill, I wonder where you are talking about India versus South Africa. We should be able to get him involved. We should just have a look here. We've got Gurkrat Gill's the person I wanted to bring in. Naresh Manaskani, we'll see whether he's around. Siddharth's normally someone like it. Saban, Gargi, Nalakshi. I'll just get that done again. We'll just quickly just forward these to Baram's another one I should be able to find somewhere. Baram, Jimmy Maxwell's floating around. Tabashis could even come along. Alan Mullally might come along. And Hollier. Let's just have a look here. All right, so England, Paul Newman saying England will not come back. How can England come back from this? I don't think you need 2 spinners of the SG line is enough. I think Paul Newman's right. How can England come back? Look, Tabasa, they need to put Zampa in for the SG. I agree. Robert Moore's bang on the number. I think that's exactly what they should do. They should actually bring Zampa, or for argument's sake, even think about Maxwell, because Australia should realise that they need a bit more than what they've had before. And I think this is their opportunity to really showcase what they got. All right, so let's have a look here. I wonder David Graveney's willing to come on. David Graveney may not be wanting to come on. Let's have a look here. Pals. Boria might come on. Jim Farbanek. Randy Panasar. Carlton Harani. Steve Maven, even I could probably push to come. All right, let's have a look here. So there's a few dubious little. Let's have a look. Well, I wonder if I can get this up on this. Let's just have a look here. Let's just see if I can get Foxtel up here. Foxtel always has silly buggers with me. Log in. It's time to log in. Okay, so we'll go Norman Koch. Kochnik. Log in. I can watch that from here. With a bit of luck, we've got some live TV going on here.
Job and not quite able to keep the Indian batters who were so good at playing spin, not quite able to keep them quiet. They ticked them along and kind of milked them as they went about their bats.
Put the volume down for that. So let's hope they come to the stoke. It'll be a huge shame for England if Australia whitewash the Ashes. I agree. It will be a huge shame New Zealand's not coming to Australia next summer instead of South Africa. True. Has Adil Rashid retired Test cricket? He should have been in this team instead of Leach. Well, Adil Rashid is a short form of the game specialist up, but he should be in the Test squad. I agree. It'll be a huge shame for England if Australia. I don't want to whitewash any series at all. It's a horrible thought process, really. makes me very upset to think that that could be the case. So let's just see what's up here. I'm just trying to pull up this. The Age put out, the Melbourne Age put out an incredible set of stats about bowling and about Australia, but it's quite a mess actually. Let's edit. Let's just have a look here. Everything seems to be in order. Okay. Invite a guest. I'll just pull that up. We're not very far from the start if we're going to have a start at all. And then to me, Brown Marani was supposed to be now. I'm going to say now for him. Let's just see if I can get him to forward it onto a few guys. It's a bit. I mean, look, Australia have won it within 2.5 days. It's quite an ordinary effort, to be really honest with you. They shouldn't be, finishing up after that short of time. That's disgraceful, realistically. Let's have a look here. Richard Verne, I've got Sumitra. That's enough. I'm trying to find. We can get a couple of these other guys to join us. We'll see whether they're around. Chloe Bailey said good go, and Naresh. I've got Naresh there now. Finally, preview. I'm just going to see if some else is around. I mean, it's a time of the year when people are more available than not. Chris Byrne will hit him again. Tripali. No, actually, okay. There's no one more, and then we'll be right. We get David Graveney on, because this game is about to start. We're within a minute of starting here. I'm just not sure how much initial byplay there is. So look here, we've got Quidwood Norm, David Graveney. Okay, that's enough of these. So we're waiting for day 3 first. So it looks like it's on. We've got some pretty definite starting points there. I can see the visuals there from Centurion, which is SUPERSPORT Park. They're in looking at the latest word of the scoreboard. What's coming on the summary live? I'm looking at the wrong match actually, aren't we? We really need to look at the right match. That might help. Okay, let's have a look here. Okay, Rahul and Rahane are making their way out to resume their stand on the blue skies in Centurion. So the blue skies looks like a bumper of a day. The partnership is worth already 73. South Africa's attack was wayward in the first day. Can they tighten up today? Well, they were somewhat. So the conditions are maximum temperature of 27 degrees Celsius. The ground looks in pretty good. Picture perfect. You have to argue there's a photo right there. I can see the ground. So there's little to no excuse about the photos. I can actually update my YouTube. So yeah, with Rahane on 40 and Rahul on 122. Brits are all crying on. Bring on some Brits. I'm trying to. I've actually invited a whole heap of them. Don't forget, this time in the morning, it's actually like 8 a.m. in the morning. We've got to be realistic. They may not join us this early. It's a 73-run partnership now. We'll wait and see where they are. They'll join us if they have to. So let's look here. I'm going to see if we've got a few messages from them now. So yes, we have David Graveney about to join us, and we're going to have to wait and see what he has to say. I'll send him by email. Let's just get this David Graveney, the chairman select, is a man who probably knows more than anyone about what needs to go on this side. Graveney. Just sent it to David Graveney. So we've got the first ball of Anthony Bolt, 3 for 273. We've got first one. We'll have David Graven join things first. He might give us a bit of an insight into what's happened. Yeah, it was certainly a fairy tale debut. First ball's been defended back by Rahane. Rahane must be cock a hoop. Actually, really should be cock a hoop. I mean, he's certainly in a position to gloat a little bit there. There we are. The broadcast already starts, so I can't change it. That's a pity. All right. Let's wait for David Graven. So, want there a bowler by the name of Dobash's Mahati in the early 2000s? I don't know, but that Zampa Shield record, 38 matches, 108 bowling, average 20. Look, Dobash's, I think you'll find that he's a better bowler. Don't we all love to see the Brits cry? Yes, well, David Graven is certainly here. So that's the 92Y. I'm just making sure that I've actually sent it to him. He's not here. He'll be here. We'll get him in a minute. Getty's bowling. Looks like India's really going to power away here. Why has nothing been sent? Primary email. Yeah, I've sent the wrong. All right, so at the moment in time, 3 for 273 into the 90.4th over. Rahul on 122, Rahane on 40. Should have got my crystal ball out earlier and see what this looks like. They'll keep Harris to their CG test set. I'm afraid they're not going to change the winning side, are they? Well, they may change it based on some of the bowlers, but the batting side, they're going to cleverly get their way out of this completely. Okay. David Graven can't be too far away. He's probably trying it now. So 3 for 273. We're into the we've had a single, no, 3 for 272. My apologies. Rahul 122 and Rahane on 40. With fifth ball of the day. There's a 3% change of transfer range today in day 3, 20% in day 4, 80% in day 5. So there's going to have to be a bit of a wriggle on here. Awaz Sharif, hi mate, any plans to play for Brisbane Saints again? This is an old club of mine. Awaz Sharif asking me whether I'm currently with the SCG 11, but why not? I might play for the Brisbane Saints again. You never know. You never know what might happen. Brisbane Saints is a great club. I actually took them on tours of in fact, I took them on tours of Sri Lanka. So that was quite a bit of effort there. So there you go. Paul Newman, Henry Hunt and Bryce Street, future test openers for Australia, and selected Musgrave young openers because Warner, 835, can't see Warner playing for another frothy. Well, James Anderson's still playing. He's 39. So there we have it. So there's a single for Rahane. He's on 41. Score is 3 for 273. Let's just get this banner up there. And I'm going to try and keep this score up today as best I can. We're looking at how many overs have gone now. We're into the 90 from 91 overs. It's quite a few overs, isn't it? Then you have 3 for 33. It's 273 off 91 overs. With Rahul on 222 now. In comes Rabada, Kagisa Rabada. He's bowled 20 overs with 5 maidens at none 51. You would argue a little bit ordinary, not his best. We apologise for the temporary break in transmit. Normal program will resume as soon as possible, Fox. Or something. Oh, there you go. But yeah, so we're going to look at some more comments here. Why has it only got Norman Costing? Why hasn't it got... I think I forgot to put down my little thing, didn't I? Edit name. Here we go. I'm going to put at... No. Norm. There we have save. There we go. Baramarani's joined me.
Hi, Norman. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, yeah. How I've got a new computer, so that's why. Am I looking right at the screen here?
Okay. If the signal is bad, then I'll just move out.
Okay. A question people asking: are you back from vacation? You got a fire hydrant thing behind you. I'm not sure if you're trying to tell us something. Is about to be a fire or something?
Yeah, it's from the hotel. No, I'm still in vacation. We came here yesterday, so.
No.
But today morning, I woke up late and I on the TV to see, and I saw that Australia already won. So that was really surprising.
Unbelievable.
I could not even get to see a ball being bowled. Yeah.
And bowl
really shocked. And it was not as if I woke up too late also, Norman. Like an hour of day's play I must have missed, and the match is already over. Not even an hour, I would say.
I'm just trying some different viewpoints. Oh, hello. Look at that. I like that. I can do things better now on the screens. What's better, that or this? What do you reckon is better?
The previous one is better, I think. Both. Yeah, this one.
No one ever used that. People put this screen on, and they put the little frilly bits up the top and down the bottom. I don't want to see, all sorts of stuff. I just want to see the people talking.
Yeah, that's the right thing, to see actual living beings.
Rahane, my God, what's going on? Ajinkya Rahane's on 42 here.
Yeah, and he played very well. If you saw his batting, like his shots and everything, he went with a very, I wouldn't say a aggressive mindset where in previous innings I saw he was like aggressive, he was playing rash shots. But all the shots over here were very, very good. All the shots what he played to get to his 40 plus. I really want him to make 100, Norman. Like, really want him to. Was sad to see Pujara get out. Was sad to see Kohli even leave it again in the mid-30s for a rash shot.
Rahane's been bad for a long time. You just can't feel sorry for him. I mean, Marcus Harris, he got 76. They're saying, oh, it was top score. They're getting carried away with him. I mean, Australia won because Scott Boland, who won the John Muller medal, the Muller medal, which is one of the first Aboriginal players from the 1800s. Isn't it ironic that he won that medal and he himself is Aboriginal? Only the second Aboriginal player that's ever played for Australia, other than Gillespie. Quite incredible.
I agree. I agree on that. But seeing England's performance has been shocking. Shocking is also I would say, a very good word, Norman. Means their batting, England's batting performance has been. I would say this is not even a team that I would give them a test status.
Yeah. David Graydon said he wanted me to send the email to and the link in an email, which I did. And it'd be most interesting to hear what he has to say, because a lot of heat has now gone on Joe Root to an extent, and also on Chris Silverwood, because they are effectively the selectors for the England side or England squad, and they seem to have made a few mistakes. So David Graveney, of course, he was chairman of selectors for well over 10 years. He's still calling himself a scout, providing input, but they haven't actually got a true chairman of selectors, which is rather, I think, frustrating to say the least.
I think the England should change the means Chris Silverwood, right? He's the whole and soul who's doing it. I think they should change, have a new outlook, and start from there, because otherwise this is just going, and this side or this, if you see, this is not something haphazard kind of a thing. This was planned, like, for what I understand, this is a result of a long term planning. If the result of a long term planning is like this, then
Yeah.
then it's a sorry state of affairs.
I don't know. I mean, it's partly Ashley Giles's, well, not partly, almost entirely Ashley Giles, which has decided this structure where they give away the chairman selectors and they have the actual coach deciding selections as well as captain primarily. Now, that puts too much pressure, I think, on the coach. I think that there should be still a chairperson or chairman of selectors, and I don't know why they're doing that. Anyway, India are 3 for 275 into the 93rd over.
I would say this also gives a prone to a lot of overthinking also. That's also something I can say.
Yeah. Well, they shouldn't have had. I mean, Broad's the one that really caused havoc for Australia and England, namely with both, Harris and Warner. So they made a mistake there. They probably should have had those two players in there. So let's have a look at the comments. We'll have some more comments. Brum shooting them cannons with the test status comment. Awesome. What are you talking about? Who's this song? Remember, Australia only made 267. Well, yeah, they made 267, but England didn't make any more than 68. Sad state of affairs indeed. But do you think it's a controversy of an internal issue that affects the ECB? No. I don't think that's a relevant. I don't think the so-called racism comments are relevant at all here. I think it was more to do with much more to do with just the players went up to it. Ben Stokes looked not at his best. Butler didn't look at his best either. That's the reality of it, I would argue. So,
okay, Norman, I'll make a move. Just wanted to come in for a short duration. Need to head out.
Hang on, before you go, I want to get a photo.
Catch you later, and let's hope. Yesterday's day was a little disappointing for India, given the washout. After I remember in all previous tours we used to pray for rain to save India. Now it's the other way around.
Well,
so it was a different. We were praying not for rain. First time, tour in South Africa, and we are praying not for rain. Okay, catch you guys. Ciao, ciao, Norman. Ciao, ciao to all the fans watching. Bye, 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 bye.
All right. It's good that Bram joins. We are going to be joined by other people. The English contingent are waking up at the moment with David Graveney, the first cab off the rank. So 3 for 276 is the current score after 93. Yeah, so that's what the score is now. We've got 3 for 276 off 93 overs. Now let's have a look here. More comments. Yeah, so England must give full power to Captain Joe at the moment. Coach will control England's cricket. That's why it's not doing well. Partly. You can't just say that. You've got to be careful what you're saying there. I think there's a bit more than just that going on. So 3 for 276. Don't forget, England were all out for 185 in their first innings, and then today all out for 68 after being 4 for 31 overnight. They lost 6 for 37 with Boland taking 4 of those wickets. And he took 2 the night before and 4 today. So that's quite an incredible situation. So 3 for 276 India are after 93 overs. And there's some 95 overs left in today's play. So, yeah, India will have to consider what they need to do because this is day 3, unfortunately, now. And we've only got 2 more days after this to play with the last out threatening with about 80% rain chance. They really need to get around the 400 mark, I reckon, by mid of today. That's what I would do, and get South Africa in the bat. Because they're not going to have enough time. If they don't get the South Africa in the bat now, they need to get them in soon. So that's the situation as it stands at the moment. So I'd say that, and the day lost is quite frustrating because the ascendancy was very, very clear. Got ourselves a no ball there, so that's added another run to the score. How do you think Australia will do in Pakistan? Paul's asking me. Well, I mean, it'll be challenging because it is the Pakistan home grounds. We know that's never going to be easy. So that's going to be a challenge for anyone for sure. So we'll wait and see how that goes. But I think Australia will do well, but it won't be as easy as it was at home playing England. I can assure you of that. What have we got here? We've got some. So Ala Sharif is sending me a link. I'm not sure he's sending me the link. Because I'm on live. You're on with me live, Sharif. Okay, so 3 for 277 with. So that's 3 for 277. Rahul's on 123. And we have Rahane on. Well, that's more than the Australian score now. It's 3 for 277 after 93 into the 94th over now. So yeah, Rahul on 123 and Rahane on 43, looking quite impressive indeed. So look at Rabada's got a fair bit of movement. That did sort of jag back. It was heading down leg side and a jag back to around middle and off. And also a fair bit of bounce, and it did Rahul in there quite a bit. So 3 for 277. So the commentary got Fanny de Villiers and Johnny Davids. I'm not sure who those two are. Oh no, Fanny de Villiers. Oh, let's go on. That's well caught there by de Kock. There was another wide. It was actually called a wide. That's interesting. I didn't know. Oh, that was probably. Well, no, it's been changed to a no ball, actually. We're getting very close to 94 overs now. I'll tell you what, South Africa are going to want to bat very well because they're up against it here. That was way over. It was a massive no ball. They're 3 for 278 after looked like 90. I'm getting into the 94th over now. Rabada's bowling 143 clicks. It's a lot faster than he did the other day. It was well under. That was in the 130s, even in 120s at one stage. Rabada's giving it a bit more, and that was so short. Surprised de Kock even got near that. Yes, and again, David Graven's there. Hello, David. I didn't see you join. Hello, David.
I've been watching for 10 minutes, Norman.
Is that true?
Yeah.
10 minutes, my foot.
Very good ball-by-ball commentary, Norman. Very good.
Yeah, I'm watching the Indians. I was expecting to watch a little bit of Australia versus England, David, but I'm afraid it didn't last that long.
It's a familiar path, Norman.
David, what happened?
Well, where do you want to start, really? So, one thing's for sure, English cricket will have a sort of knee-jerk review of what happens and what's not happening. In the end, sometimes you just have to say that you played poorly and the opposition played really well. They made too many mistakes. We made too many mistakes in the first test in particular. And once you're behind the 8 ball against anybody, then you give the momentum to the opposition. But there are some serious issues that we need to address. That if you took Joe Root out of the team, who actually is going to get any runs whatsoever? So there'll be, which normally happen, and this does bring back memories of 2006-07 of what happened then. But
Rabada's just taken a wicket, by the way. KL Rahul just got out, caught by the keeper de Kock, bowled Rabada for 123.
Yeah. Are they not allowing any crowds there, Norman, or not?
In South Africa, they're not allowed. I think they've got the Omicron crisis there. They've banned crowds. They've got only friends and family, I think, that are there at all. So there's a bit of a lack of crowd there. So
if you keep getting bowled out for under 200, you're not going to win any game. It doesn't matter whether it's a test match, county cricket, Sheffield Shield, or whatever. So there's no doubt in my mind. And this is something. This is not just today, Norman. We have used the wrong ball in English cricket for years, to such a point that people are trying to avoid opening the batting and basically trying to bat a bit farther down. So that, and this is not said to be disrespectful to people opening the bowler in the UK, but some pretty military medium bowlers can get a lot of wickets, which I would have to say in Australia that doesn't happen.
Yeah. But look, Zach Crawley, with all due respect, got out pretty cheaply, but I think he's a better prospect into this Test series now that he's in. Hamid has been steady, but he fell away this Test match. Milan's been great. I think Milan's been fantastic.
But if you're in within a couple of overs, Norman, then it's difficult. So I think Zach Crawley is somebody to persevere with. Yep. However, when you watch him back, you see a lot of his right shoulder and right hip when he first comes in. So the line of the bat coming down in the backswing is always going to be from out to in.
Because he had to adjust his stance, didn't he? He's done a bit of adjusting. Is that right?
Yeah, well, he's quite a tall lad. But yeah, and you know, all the points I've been listening to, all the stuff that's originating out of Australia. I don't know what you think, Norman. When you listen to some of these pundits on TV, they have extraordinarily short memories about their own careers.
Look, a lot of people are making comments in the screens here saying humiliated, disappointment, embarrassment from England blown away. Look, you and I certainly didn't expect to be down 3-0 at this stage. You didn't either.
I know, but history shows, Norman, that if you lose the first one, and it has a bit of a familiar thing that does happen in Test cricket for a period of time. There are key points, and in England's case, it was drop catches that really cost them dear. So parity does exist for a period of time in the game. By the time you get to the end of the match, the gap is wide, which certainly was the case in that first Test match in Brisbane. And Brisbane is, even in 2006, is a hostile place to go. It's very, very passionate support, and you've got to be prepared for it. Now, there are circumstances by which the preparation was somewhat undercooked, and that was probably caused by the weather more than anything else. And yeah, there's just got to be a bit of a rethink around the amount of red ball cricket that our best young players are playing. And can you draw? I'm only throwing this as a question. That the fact that Joe Root is our best player, and probably would be our best player anyway, but the fact that he doesn't play as much white ball cricket as everybody else. So even during our summer, he was still playing some red ball cricket for Yorkshire. It's just got to be that balance, and the point that's been made is that around the world, the very best players play white ball and red ball cricket. Fine. But when they first start in their careers, I do think that they play a lot more red ball cricket and the balance between in Australia of what I would say red ball cricket against white ball cricket is about the right balance. That you go.
Look, I was quite scathing in Australia not long ago. I thought they were going to be smashed in the World Cup, but they turned that around, and they were expected to do pretty poorly in the Test series. But England, haven't played up to what they should have. Australia's had everything go their way as well. Even the toss in the matches have been their way. And Scott Boland play. How could you get 6 for 7 in your first ever Test match? Incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, but he's what age is he, Norman?
31, 32.
Yeah, right. 31, 32. He shaped his skill set on bowling on good wickets. Against high level of cricket, but good wickets that he'd had to formulate a way of how am I going to take some wickets, because you just can't just bowl it on the length and the wicket will do it for you in Australia. You've got to do something more than that. So the ball situation, I'm not saying it should be the Kookaburra or whatever, but the combination of the wickets and whatever, it just does too much. So one, you negate playing spin. When I first started, every side had 2 spinners, and that was a standard issue. 3 seamers, 2 spinners, and the spinners had to learn their craft, even bowling on wickets that didn't do a lot. And that is, I think, one of the the blueprints of Australia. It doesn't matter what wicket they're playing on, Nathan Lyon will play.
Yeah. Okay, so going back to the England side for a minute, let's just leave Zach Crawley and Hamid there with Milan, Root, and I think Bairstow, Stokes, whatever combination with Butler. I don't think they're going to change that. But when it comes to the bowling lineup, Anderson bowled beautifully. So I reckon it was one of his best performances ever in Australian soil. Wood also bowled pretty well. Leach was rather ineffective, but Ollie Robinson hasn't lived up to what we hoped either, I don't think. Who do you reckon will be the bowlers for the last two tests? Do you think they're going to make any changes there?
I think you've this is the conundrum around selection. Or you start losing, then it becomes like Russian roulette, swing doors. People come in and out, in and out, in and out. You know, if you thought they were good enough to play this test match, then I think you have to stick by them.
I agree. I think so.
Otherwise, we've had periods of time where you know, people were just looking out over their shoulders all the time. You know, and I think that, you know, Rory Burns is a human being. He's got a family, and you know, they will be feeling his pain if that's the right thing. You know, they're not just lumps of meat you're talking about. You're talking about people who are professional sportsmen, and it is always to me a really double-edged sword. A bloke can go to work 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, go to the local pub, and nobody knows how his work has gone. You play professional sport, everybody knows your highs and your lows, and you've got to be strong enough to be able to cope with that. You know, I can remember, I'm sure you can, Nolan, that and this is years ago, when Steve Smith was selected to go to represent Australia to India as one of their frontline spinners, bowling leg spin. You know, so you know, it's not everybody has the perfect solution to everything. It just happens to be at this time, the three seamers are world-class seamers. You know, I would have to say Mitchell Starc, I think, bowled as consistently fast and accurately than I've ever seen him bowl.
Yeah, he seemed to stand up. He looks like he, in the absence of Hazelwood and also with Cummins not being able to play the second test because of the COVID scare, he kind of stood up, which was pretty impressive. Now, Australia's got, with the spinner Nathan Lyon, we know, but they've got Mr. Swepson in the background. I think they may even consider Zampa. They're giving him some thought. The question I've got here for you, though, David, is have England got a replacement for Anderson if he retires? And the best spinner now is Root rather than Leach. They seriously like good spinners. What's your thoughts on that? Those two questions.
Well, Jimmy Anderson is a world-class bowler, as he has proven. I think the age profile of playing Broad and Anderson in the same team can be quite difficult. I think it's quite difficult in Australia. You wouldn't have a problem in England because the ball keeps doing heaps all day long. And in terms of the serious lack of good spinners, I think the point I'm making is that domestic cricket doesn't really throw up spinners that play on a regular basis. Even for Somerset, Jack Leach, you know, when it was a choice between Dom Bess and Jack Leach, the fact that Dom Bess batted was a pretty good, you know, that became the deciding factor. That's never the deciding factor when Australia pick if they want to go for one spinner. That one spinner has to be as mentally strong. This has always been, and this is a real personal view, Norman, is that even at the back end of my career, where people were picking like 5 seamers and 1 spinner, and suddenly the wicket started to spin, then I always had a bit of a moan. It's a lot of pressure on an individual, actually. Because if you bat as a group, you've got 6 batsmen. If you've got a bunch of seamers, there'll be 4 minimum. If it spins and you're the only spinner, it's always down to you to be able to do that. And I always felt that was a difficult thing for Moeen to cope with. He actually bowled much better when he was in a seam-oriented attack, and suddenly it didn't seem as much, and he bowled spin. But if you are the one spinner, and the way that people play spin, Norman, these days, is very difficult for a young guy to start. Even in a test match, the Australians made it very clear if Jack Leach was going to bowl, he was going to disappear or either get people out, one or the other. But there wasn't anybody trying to milk him or knocking him around for ones and twos and threes. Warner and Lamshane just blasted him. And he's a bit unfortunate that he had to bowl. With Warner back in form, he's brutal, because he keeps smashing it over the top. So the good spinner bit, there are spinners out there, but they're just got to be given the opportunity to bowl. You just can't carry a spinner in the side, and then when it starts to spin, throw the ball to the spinner and say, come on, this is your turn. They've got to bowl 20, 25 overs a day, which in the essence, Nathan Lyon does. Even on a wicket that it might seem. Even in the first innings here, he still bowled a number of overs where the wicket itself was as green as I've seen it, as for a drop-in wicket, and did a lot from ball one right through to when the game ended, which obviously was premature.
I tell you, I'm so glad, David, that I was going to fly down to Melbourne today for the third and fourth day's play. I'm glad I didn't, because I would have spent about an hour. So, very sad, because the fourth day, they usually have a media lunch in the committee room there, and the MCG members don't normally go to that. But anyway, it doesn't matter. We're now looking at the SCG, and that's obviously my favourite test match, being at my home location. And that's generally a great atmosphere, and it'll be. I think now that England can forget about winning or losing the Ashes, we might see a bit of a freer style of their play. They won't be hopefully as down. They won't be very happy, admittedly, but they'll be mentally a bit freer because they've lost the series. All they're doing now is trying to regain pride. And Australia might be somewhat lax, even though they may not admit to it.
Past history would suggest when Australia has their foot on your throat, they suddenly don't let it go. So.
Unless, of course, England try to push that off their throat, and that's what they've got to do.
They've got to compete. The guys will know without being told that actually it hasn't gone to the degree that they want it to go, and this is an opportunity to show people in Australia, people in England, actually, I was selected because I can play. So each player will have an individual target of what they should be trying to get out of the game. And Sydney is but again, it's a good wicket unless they do something with it. But if it does anything, it does spin. So in essence, it should be a good wicket. And even when we go, if you go back to Brisbane and that first toss, was definitely, and I think both sides agreed with it, was the toss to lose. Let the opposition make the decision what they're going to do. I was on the ground at Brisbane when NASA decided to put Australia in, and that didn't, but. And I think Steve Waugh's quote is the one that resonates with me all the time, is that, and Mark Taylor's a little bit the same, is actually the toss is irrelevant. It's how you play. So, there are benefits of. It's a double-edged sword. If you bat first on a wicket that does a bit and it doesn't last all day long, you will gain the benefits of having runs on the board and in Australia's case to be able to expose the opposition to Shane Warne on a wearing pitch. The batsman, and that's where I thought Mark Taylor was one of the bravest players ever to play, because he opened the batting as well. So he was putting his head in the vice all day long. But he knew in the better interest that was the way that Australia could win games, which they duly went on to do.
Well, Ajinkya Rahana's just got out slashing a ball outside off stump. He's nicked it off Rabada, and they're now 5 for 291. So India
they need to accelerate the game going forward.
That's true. They probably are batting in that manner for sure, because they've lost a day's play. And look, I think India's bowlers are good enough to really give South Africa a bit of, that ball really lifted. It was a nice big nick. But yeah, I do agree that India should absolutely smash South Africa based on the positioning of them in the competition at the moment. India's not being concerned by faster pitches. They should really.
Well, they now have. If you look at the team, Norman, they have an all-star seam attack now, which maybe 20 years ago, Kapil Dev was a fantastic bowler, and there'll be other bowlers, but the 4 bowlers they're using now have pace, they have guile, but they still pick a spinner. You know, Ashwin's still playing, and if Jadeja was fit, he'd be playing somewhere. So they're quite happy to have the keeper batting 6, and then whatever combination falls after that.
Oh yeah, I mean, look. So let's take a moment here. Let's assume that both the Australian and England sides are pretty much unchanged. Maybe there might be some fiddling with the bowling department, but based on the pitch, I don't think Australia will play 2 spinners. I don't think they need to do that. That's not the way that they need to play. They have a sufficiently good bowling attack not to bring a second. Swepson.
But hasn't there been a lot of rain in Australia from Brisbane?
There has, well, in particular Sydney at the moment. I mean, Melbourne was quite clear today, which was very good. Sydney's had a fair bit of rain, but we're still got another week to 8 days away before the Sydney test, and we should get a test on. And there'll be no COVID issues because they're chartering a plane and what have you. Both teams have been tested and they're all fine. So this little scare that was there is now over. They'll put them under wraps, I'm sure. There'll be no restaurant visits from the Australians. There'll be no, like, the families will be separated from the players. And look, it's been 3 tests now, so the families have been pretty happily together for this whole time. So if they're separated for 2 tests, it's not the end of the world, I don't think.
No, I think it's still hard for the players, but I think we now live in a society, Norman, that people get used to testing on a regular basis. So it's like brushing your teeth. That's what you have to do to go anywhere. So
no, it's true. Look, and it's we've got 95+% vaccination, both the double dose and now under the boosters. We're all covered. There's Omicron's here, but it's more virulent, as in more active, but it's not, and more contagious, but it's certainly not more deadly. So we seem to be handling.
Yeah, I think the transfer of positive cases, Norman, to hospital participation is the key thing. And you can understand in Australia the same as England. If you say the new variant is not as strong, then people just won't do the jabs. So so it's a difficult balance to achieve, really. That and there's still a lot of people in this country still haven't had even the first jab. So
really,
yeah, I think the main cause for concern is the number of absentees in terms of staff, in terms of and the symptoms are very. For instance, my daughter's tested positive just before Christmas, which was a real disappointment to the family. But the symptoms appear to be very flu-like, and certainly in younger people. But that means people don't, people have to go in isolation, as she has done, and is now coming out of it. Missed the whole of Christmas, but as compared to frontline workers in the health system, that is really disruptive. If there is not enough people to look after the patients who are in hospital. So,
look, I took a lot of encouragement out of the England bowling when they got Australia out for 267. I thought that was a very good effort, and they bowled particularly well. And I thought that Anderson in particular, but also Wood bowled particularly well. Wood's extra pace certainly hurt Australia. It's a real pity that Jofra Archer wasn't there, but it just England's batting was disappointing. That was where the problem lied.
I'd have to say it was Norman, it was a good wicket to bowl on. I don't think as a batsman you ever thought you were in, and as well as Marcus Harris, and I'm pleased for him because he was under a bit of pressure. You felt that's actually, these types of wickets are very much English types of wickets that the batsmen never feel that they're in. I've never seen the ball fly to first slip as many times as it has in this match.
Yeah,
to first slip rather than the keeper.
Yeah, there's a lot of movement.
It's got a lot of catches. So yeah, there've been a lot of playing and missing. So so there weren't. Certainly, this one wasn't an easy wicket to bat on. I think Australia would probably say, or Justin Langer would say, that actually 250 was a really good score.
Yeah. Look, I'm still hopeful that. I mean, I know people are now talking about whitewash and the 5-0 result. I there was also jokingly saying that COVID should be now stop the whole series, which is just a bit of a to take the pain away from England. Look, I think that England still have a chance of winning one or if not two of these last two matches. If everything goes
get runs on the board, Norman. If you don't get any runs on the board, you lose games because the game is you take the draw out unless weather intervenes. So you basically got to get enough runs, basically. So. And these guys can play. You know, their records. You know, they weren't. It wasn't a lucky dip, the original selection. But you know, playing on Australia, people have always asked me. You know, you've been to Australia, I haven't. What it's like? And it's a fantastic country. The only downside is if you are involved in an England cricket team that is getting annihilated, sometimes it's not quite the best place to play because everybody will tell you. So,
India lost another wicket. Ashwin just popped the ball up and he's been caught. As you said, they're going for it.
Yeah,
I guess they have no choice, don't they? Really, they can't.
Well, they will think that their seam attack is pretty strong. So,
what a pity that they couldn't bat to their. So they're 6 for 296 into the 98th over. They're going to be, they've lost 3 wickets pretty quickly today. Look, I hope Zach Crawley gets runs. Milan has got runs. He's got 2 good 80-odd scores. Yeah. And such a pity he didn't convert that to 100. Oh, it frustrated me. And with, of course, Root, 1,708 runs he got for the calendar year. 2 runs.
He's been remarkable. Norman, he's been absolutely remarkable. But he as
only 2 runs from Viv Richards.
Previous English captains, when you're behind the 8 ball, it's hard. You know, hard to keep going to press conferences to explain yet another defeat is just a really hard thing to do. And there comes a point in time where, and I don't think it is with Joe. I think Joe is. There are people think he's about 12 years old sometimes. Depends whether they have a shave or not. But he is a very determined young man who, will not run away from the challenge. So he will still fight through till the end. So he just needs a platform to be able to, instead of being 20 for 2, something different. So hopefully the guys above him can stay in for a bit, but it's hard. If Mitchell Stark is bowling the way he's bowling at present, they've lobbed a couple of, that was, but again, that was the one thing that probably is a slight bit of difference. They were quite happy to select players who are journeyman would be the wrong thing to say, but people who've actually played a lot of first class cricket who know their game. They relish the opportunity. Well, I'm not going to be selected for Australia unless I take this opportunity, is to get out there and play. Massively helps you if you're selected in a winning team, but it's still quite a brave decision because I'm sure there are a number of younger seam bowlers that might be Australia's future, but they picked on form.
Would you consider opening with Bairstow and perhaps dropping Zach Crawley down the order?
It depends which. Yeah, best. I think what appears to be. I'm not saying it's necessarily a weakness, but the opposition seem to want to make the ball tail into Johnny, and even in. It's noticeable in white ball cricket because he wants to stand slightly inside the ball so he can smash it through the offside. So he would be vulnerable to that. He might be looking at it, and his knowledge would be far greater than mine, that actually he might need to have a slightly different technique to play the longer form of the game. And I'd say that about playing Mitchell Stark. Mitchell Stark is not a genuine swing, the normal left arm hooping the ball. And actually, dare I say it, different speed, mind, but Alan Mullally was, I would say, similar. So the batsmen actually need to stand in front of the stumps. You need to take off stump. So anything outside your eye line is not going to hit the stumps. It might seam back, and occasionally you might get it to swing back, like it did with Burns bowling him behind his legs. But it has to be really, really full. So he is a fantastic bowler. His record's brilliant. He bowls fast, but he isn't what I would say the normal conventional left-arm seamer.
No.
But the other guys are really accurate. They're brought up on really good batting wickets where consistency, keeping pressure on by bowling in the right areas, ball after ball after ball, and challenging the wickets all the time. So they've tended to bowl not massively fuller than England, but England sort of sometimes gets in this mentality of bowling at the fifth stump, whereas actually you need to bowl at the stumps. And they've had to do that because they haven't got enough runs. So the bowlers are under pressure to take wickets the moment they just walk out on the pitch. So
McGiddy's just taken another wicket there. He's taken a fifer and he punches popped the ball to a it on. There's a bit of you can't call it imploding, but they were 3 for 2, only 2 now. They're 7 down for 296. They've had the 4 for 20 on.
Well, it seems to be actually that they could have made bigger inroads in that first session, day one, but they just didn't have enough control with the bowling. But that's where we're at. So, so what's your time scale for the next few days, Norman?
Time scales, well, obviously because there's no Australia-England test match to go on. I'll be doing this session generally around this time slot. So when you wake up in the morning, what time is it now there?
Now it's 8:45.
So 8:45. So roughly, let's say 8 o'clock.
Fine. Right. Well, if you keep sending the link
I love you.
as an email, then I know that you're online and I'll come and join you because, there'll be a lot of soul searching in the UK in the next 12 hours, and the same will happen in Australia, and we'll have a better idea how the chips are going to fall. So,
well, you should hear. I've uploaded the video of Joe Root post match. Very interesting. It was quite an interesting conversation. He was quite open with a few thoughts, but you should listen to that. I think he said there's need for some very deep and long conversations about the selection process. Now, his honest words, he was quite forthright about that, meaning that he's basically not happy with what's going on selection-wise at the moment. Not putting the blame on Silverwood, I don't think, but just the overall process. So have a listen to what Joe Root had to say.
But it's ironic, Norman, that this match was played with the shadow of somebody I worked with as a selector in terms of Raymond Illingworth passing, but he did everything. He coached and selected. I think there is a weakness in that. So
I thought
my philosophy, whether it was right or wrong or whatever, I was very fortunate that in the main, the coaches got on really well with the captains, win or lose. So they were different individuals. Nasser Hussain is a completely different individual to Michael Vaughan. But in the end, I can remember Richie Beno talking about when he was captain in Australia, when he first became captain, of having a situation where he wasn't happy with the other 10 players he was given. I think Don Bradman might have been chairman of selectors, and I think that you have to. For me, the captain's view is always a really strong one, and I think you've got to be there to help and offer alternatives. But if the captain is really strong on what he wants to do, you just have to respect that he has to be comfortable with the other 10 guys he's taken out.
Now, Justin Langer's taken the foot off the pedal, and the players are basically telling him to back off a bit. He did that through the World Cup, and it seemed to work. In the Test series, he's done that as well. He's let the players run the game more than him dominating the discussion, which is a different tactic for Justin Langer. So, but he certainly is bidding to try and continue his tenure as coach beyond April, May next year. At this point, they were saying no. They were saying that was the end of his career. Well, not career, but end of his time. They were looking at another coach to replace, almost to the word. Nick Hockley has said in the press he's still thinking it over. So they're not convinced with Langer, and it'll be interesting to see what happens because he's pretty keen to continue his tenure.
I'm sure
question we're getting today is not in the Indian South Africa tour, based because he's injured. That's right. And that's why he's actually
Yeah.
injured. Yeah. All right.
Does he actually Jadeja, for being one of the best fielders in the world,
Oh, for sure.
does get injured quite a lot. So. But they seem to manage their, but I just think they're a real force now because they've got a real proper seam attack.
And so many batsmen.
And they're all different. And you're right about the in any sporting environment, Norman, if you've got competition, those in possession know that they have to perform. And as long as those who select the team give particularly with batsmen, a sensible opportunity and a run in the team, then the batsmen know that they have to perform because somebody else equally as good can step into the team. And that is definitely the case with India.
Oh, for sure. They've got too many players in a way which are playing at that high level, and they're probably struggling with who to leave in and put in because. But I think they've given Rahane another go, and he got 48 today. Or got out to a loose shot, but I think he's keeping. But he's not vice captain anymore. He's now just simply a player in the team. So
well, I've seen the debate around Kohli, Norman. People quoting his figures for the last 18 months. I'm not suggesting they'll drop him, but at least they're raising the subject. The one person that and hindsight's a wonderful thing in any walk of life. I just think that James Vince is a proper Test match player. I think he has a proper technique.
James
Vince.
Yeah, I think he should be in the side too.
But he'd obviously have to change the way he plays, and somehow we've got to. I just like the way he reminds me very much of Michael Vaughan as a player. Yeah. And he's always been really reasonably successful playing in Australia. I just would have liked him to be involved. But,
well, he's in Australia, isn't he? He's playing the short form, the BBL. He is floating around. Could they bring him in? Are they technically allowed to bring him into the squad, or they can't do that?
No, they bring anybody you like. And I think the only constraints you have on squads is if it's an ICC tournament.
Right.
You have to declare your hand. And I know that they're quite rightly being a little bit more relaxing around the number of people. Normally it's around 15 in a squad.
Yeah.
Particularly with COVID, that you've got to a bit like rugby union, football. I'm sure Australian rules are the same. You have to be able to react to a COVID outbreak and have enough people in reserve. So they'll be quite rightly. People care. People care about. You talked about going to Melbourne, and that you're probably grateful you didn't. I've got files at home, Norman, of people, from families who saved up to buy tickets and for days that never took place to take their young children for the first time to Test match cricket, which I would have to say are heartbreaking. So, but for people to write in, it shows how much they care about the game as a whole, but also their team. So there'll be some interesting comments flying around on social media from now until whenever the Test match is. Is it the 2nd of January? Does it start?
The next test is the 5th of January, actually.
5th, all right.
So they're starting that for some reason later and later, which is a bit annoying because it does encroach into the some people's working time. They have to now not so much in my case,
it used to start on the 2nd, which happens to be my birthday, which is completely the most antisocial day in the year, basically.
So India are 8 for 304 after 100 overs. They've lost another wicket. Lost Tucker just then. So he was out to Rabada, caught behind. So they're certainly going to. This could well kick the game along a bit, which is good.
Well, Centurion Park, Norman, is it's obviously in the high veld. It looks as if they had a serious amount of rain either overnight after day one to prevent them playing at any. But it combines heavy rain with moisture coming. It's a bit like Brisbane. So even though the pitch may be dry, the moisture, the hot sun will bring it through the pitch. So, and if you combine that with India wanting to, hit the accelerator and get out there and bowl, then I think anything over 300 with their seam attack will be an interesting challenge for South Africa.
Oh, for sure. For sure, and
they are developing some players. I quite like Markham. I think he can definitely play.
Yeah. Well, Dean Elgar and Markham, they're a good opening pair, but then they fall away after that.
Yeah.
And De Kock, we know, can bat, but he's not consistent enough.
Yeah. So if you keep sending me the link, Norman, then I'm sure in the next 24 hours there'll be some interesting comments made on both from Australia to England, and then we can follow up on those.
For sure. Please come back. So come back about 8 a.m. your time tomorrow. I'll have a link there for you via an email.
Okay. Yeah. Super.
Okay, Norman. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Have you had a good Christmas? See you later.
Actually, I should ask you, how was your Christmas? Did you spend it with family?
Well, unfortunately, my daughter was tested positive on Christmas Eve, so that rather kiboshed the plan. So we're having a rerun, Christmas Day Mark II at some stage when she comes out of isolation.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
You were going to go to Sri Lanka. You didn't do that, did you?
No, I didn't go to Sri Lanka, and I was thinking about going to Antigua to watch the under-19s, and it's, travel is very much disruptive. So I'm probably thinking twice about that. And to be fair, Norman, the televisation, even at under-19 level, is so extensive. So it'd be nice to go to watch it live, but it's not the end of the world if you're not there.
Well, if you do go to Antigua, go and see Merv. He's been on our show together. We can get on Merv.
Yeah. That's yet to be decided. So, Norman, I'll speak to you over the next couple of days. If that's okay.
All right. Ciao. Thank you. Thank you,
See you
David.
later.
How fortunate we had David Graveney on the show. Now, David Graveney, of course, chairman of selectors for over 10 years for the English side, knows all about selection issues. It's just said it quite openly that they've chosen this side to play this match, and that he thinks they should stay together for the next match, with Broad the only one that's perhaps swirling around. And I agree with that. Give Milan and Zach Crawley, obviously, there's another chance. And even Hamid, I think they should give another chance. And they've got nothing to lose now. They've lost the series. Now it's open, clear-minded play. And India are now 8 for 308 into the 101st over, with Bumrah not out Norton, Shami not out 8. I'm not happy with the dismissal of Rishabh Pant, to be honest. That was a pretty ordinary dismissal, I must say. He wasn't attacking. It was rather like a half-hearted shot, which is not what you want from a man who looked so good in Australia only a year ago. And that's unfortunate, because I think after what I've seen, I'm not happy with it. So 8 for 308 into the 101st over now. Rahane got 48. He did have to up the ante a little bit. And the Giddy's taken 5. Oh, hello, there's another edge and another wicket. Shami's gone for the big hike, and it's just all he succeeded in was nicking it. And the Giddy's now taken 6 wickets Boland, Scotty Boland, but I'm afraid he had 6 for 7, whereas the Giddy's got 6 for 84. So that's 308 for 9. So they clearly look like they're going to be bowling very soon, which will be interesting. That's when we'll see some fireworks, I'm pretty sure. So India were 3 for 272 overnight. They've added 36 for 6. 3 for 272. 36 for 6 this morning. Indian, South Africa time. So 9 for 308 with 1 ball left in the 101st over. Another catch to De Kock. He's taken a few now. I think we bring in the bat now. I think it's Siraj, and he probably won't last very long. So, yeah, we've got a fairly interesting situation developing here. What I'll do is I'll wait until the innings finishes, and we'll go and watch a few overs of India bowling with Bumrah, Shami, Siraj in the attack. With obviously then you've got Ashwin as well there to back up with some spin. That's quite a good bowling attack, actually. And you've got Thakur as well. I think that's a good bowling up, and that should cause some damage, you would think, against South Africa. Did Australians inspire South African bowlers? Maybe. Hi, Don 007, you're here. And cricket's a simple captain should take off. This is not a coast and pass. Okay. not the coach in the past. I think cricket started giving them much power to Langer. That's why I started not giving them all the time. It's true. Langer backed off. England literally started to stay against the Aussie quick. They certainly did. It was awful. I mean, really bowling, even though it was his home pitch, is not exactly a scary bowler in terms of pace. And they played the wrong line. And they looked tentative, to say the least. Yeah, it's very sad. So 9 for 308 is India in the 101st over here. So I think earlier today, England were all out for 68 after being 4 for 31 overnight. They only could muster 37 runs. Well, look, we got Australia who was 6 for 37 this morning, and England was 6 for 37 this morning. Well, India is 6 for 36 at the moment. So it's ironic, the similarity. Did you hear that? That's quite an ironic comparison there. Australia was 6 for 37, all out for 68. India lost 6 wickets for 36 to be 9 for 308. Mind you, they got all runs on the board. Bit of an ironic twist that both teams have lost 6 for 36 with 7 runs. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so we've got Rabada's taken 3, Nagiti's taken 6. 3 to Rabada and 6 to Nagiti. De Kock's taken some 3-4 catches now. And we're now waiting on Bumrah and Siraj to see what they can do to finish up the tail there. Not much to go on from that, I don't think. We're into that last ball, 101st over. Extras are 18. So Rahul got 123, Agarwal 60, Pujara out for a duck, and then it goes down from there with Rahane getting 48 and 35 for Kohli. And Siraj is now facing. He looks a bit bright-eyed there. Good bowling from Nagiti. I think a 7-wicket haul would be pretty impressive for him. His overs finished. 9 for 308 after 101 overs. Hoping Lord Shuggle shows his power. Well, he got out then cheaply, Don 007. Nagiti had to step up because Norjay is not here, so that ball is certainly an extra bit of bounce there and not conducive to the shot that was played. Nagiti's quite happy. He's taken, I'd say, one of his best bowling performances today. England all out for 185 and 68 this morning. Well, 6 for 37. And India are 6 for 36 today. Nagiti taking 6 wickets. Whoosh from Bumrah. He's smacked it through the covers, or through mid-off, I should say. He's going to get at least 3 here. Well, we've got 2, actually. 2 or 3, I don't know how many it is. It was also a no ball. So that means 3 runs, doesn't it? So 311 is the score. Into the 102nd over now. So I put the overs up. That's including the current over. So 9 for 311 into the 102nd over. Well, these guys know their ground. Do you think that Ben McDermott will get a good amount in the IPL? You mean in terms of what he'll get? He probably will, because India can throw the money around. I don't think he deserves it. Nor did Jai Richardson, for that matter, and nor did the other bowler, whatever his name was. Both pretty, very young and getting paid way, way too much. I'm afraid they really did. 9 for 311 into the 102nd over here. Bumrah's facing Rabada. Oops, let's the ball go. Rabada's got 3 for 71 with Nagiti some 6 wickets. It was 83 miles per hour, which is a fair whack. Kohli's pretending to let the ball go there. Look at the Indian players, both Ashwin, don't know who he's sitting with there. Sort of the pads on and a helmet. A little Agua, I'm not sure. No, Bournemouth just tickled it down the fine leg. Pushes the score up to 312, which is they would not have liked this total if they were betting it yesterday, but considering the day that they're betting, having lost today, they'd be pretty happy. 9 for 312 into the 102nd over. Nevada selling on his 4th wicket there. So you got Siraj, Shami, Bumrah, Thakur, and Ashwin as their five bowlers. Have they got anyone else that can bowl now? It's pretty much the 5 that they'll be using. The batting lineup has, there's no other bowlers I can think of there, unless Kohli decides to bowl. Rabah's bowled a short ball has followed Siraj, giving him a bit of a wake up. So 9 for 312 after 102 overs. Day 3 first session. Of course, day 2 was completely washed out. You can see behind me there the 1876 book, which is the SCG with Pat Cummins, and then you've got Mitchell Stark there, the men's Ashes book. That second booklet is available publicly for all the cricket matches, and that one's a member of the SCG gets that. And one of my nephews up the top there. It's got this camera's there. There's a camera there. I don't even know where this camera is. A camera up there? No, it's there. It's right in the middle there. Yeah, so almost a funny looking attempted, not sure what was going on there. That was a rather unusual shot there off McGiddy. Attempted cut, didn't really do anything. So England, again, were all out for 185 in the first innings, but they were all out today for 68. After being 4 for 31, England lost some 6 for 37, all out for 68, fell short of the 267 total they were looking at, and Australia won by an innings and 14 runs into the first hour or so's play on the third day. So that where the India-South Africa match is now, the game would be over. Shows how disastrous and quick that game finished. Oh, we got Bumrah blocking. So watch a couple of, hopefully we'll watch the others at Ashwin getting out. Kohli was out yesterday. Rahane today caught behind. Punt playing very well in the shot, popping it to Salim on. And the big alley-oop, which went straight to the keeper. And then, oops, and Bumrah's popped it over Salim on, and it looks like we've got at least 2 there, maybe 3. Looks like they've run 3 there. Well, the same 4. Oh, 3. 3's been run, so 9 for 315, the Indian score. Hope you're enjoying this, guys. Some of you are still watching. Into the 103rd over. That's a fair amount of overs. So 9 for 315. So, Don, can you think of any reason why players not getting importance first class when it forms the base of the techniques? England players currently don't have good first class averages. That's true. I don't know why. It's going to have to change. David Gravney talked about that. I think Bairstow Robbins have good averages, but they were not able to translate the forms. Well, Bairstow can. I will also say that England have not utilised Bairstow properly. I agree with that. Into almost 80 tests now. You really need Don 007, wherever you've been, he made some good comments there. So 9 for 315 into the 103rd over here. I don't think we're going to last much longer. They keep playing those sort of shots. Siraj not yet off the mark, and Bournemouth hit 6. Siraj facing. And Nigiri desperately wanting his 7th wicket. And Siraj has played a slashing cover drive. Absolutely smoked it. These are valuable runs they're getting now. Very valuable. Anything close to them, if they're going to pursue 350, well, 319 at the moment, so we're not quite there yet, but 319 it's a fair score, considering how much time we've got left in the match. Well, he really gave that some. Jesus, he absolutely smoked that. Very impressive. 9 for 319. Nice ball over. And he's tried again to play that shot, but hasn't not succeeded. So that's the end of the 103rd over. India are 9 for 319 with Bumrah on 6 and Siraj on 4. If they can eke out another 10, 20, 30 runs, it's going to be very useful. But they obviously want to get in the bowl against them. So Centurion versus India 6 for 39 versus India again. This match 6 for 71. So Centurion 3 years ago, we got 6 for 39. West Indies, he got 5 for 19. Sri Lanka 4 for 44, and Australia 3 for 51 and 18. So Nagiti's got pretty good stats. His best bowling was against India 3 years ago. At the moment, he's got the same amount of wickets. If he gets one more wicket, that'll be his best bowling effort. Wait and see. That's not good. This is excellent. Jensen's come on the bowl and bowled absolutely rank wide ball. Was it a wide or what was it called? Yeah, Jensen's into his 18th over. He's 9 for 61. Economy rate 3.5. It's okay. Give him a chance of taking his first test wicket, I guess. So we're into the 104th over now. 319 to score. Justin was spotted by Moeen during uphill, that's correct. He has some potential, yeah, but a bit wild and woolly at the moment. Thanks, Don. I enjoy you enjoy my show and you enjoy wherever I can. That's great. I'm very happy when you say that. And that was a rather slashing shot by Bumrah. Didn't get any runs though. So I've been joined by Baran Marani and David Gravney today, which was very promising. Very saying that's not right. Okay. 6 for 71 for Legini at the moment. He might be, if Jensen doesn't take a wicket this over, you would think that Legini will take one the next over. Well, Bumrah's just clobbered Jensen to the boundary there and got a nice old 4. This is where the danger is. You don't want to let Bumrah go too long because he can hit. And he's not doing well against Australia. I remember that time he did really well. And against England too, for that matter. 323 off 9. 9 wickets down into the 104th over. Nothing wrong with this performance. So 9 for 323. He's clobbered that bizarrely, but he got over it. 104 overs now for 9 for 323. Justin goes around the wicket and Bumrah tries to reciprocate with a big slashing pull shot. Didn't quite connect. Now 9 for 323. Look, if they get 340, 350, nothing wrong with that total. And there was an early catch dropped by de Kock. Who was that? Was that Bumrah? Beautifully lofted over mid-off. He's gone rocketing into the boundary. He's just got another 4. This is becoming quite a useful tail in partnership, this one. 9 for 327. Nothing wrong with that. After 104 overs, walks it beautifully. 9 for 327. Beautifully hit. Clobbered very nicely. Moving into the 105th over, 9 for 327. At SUPERSPORT Park here, the first Betway test, as they're calling it. Do you have any players in mind who had the potential to become great but got lost? Do you mean in terms of, what do you mean? Australia? Well, Jason Sanger's a bit that way at the moment, but I think he's still got time to get in there. But otherwise, no. James Pattinson he's now retired, hasn't realised his full potential. Wyan Mulder's on. He's replacing McGiddy. I would have kept McGiddy going, but anyway. Well, they just pushed a nice little single there. Have they? No, they didn't run. Into the 105th. So again, England all out for 68 today. They were 4 for 31. They lost 6 for 37, all out for 68, chasing the 267 score. They were 14 runs adrift innings and 14 runs they lost by. And India 9 for 327 into the 105th over now. Mulder bowling. Siraj giving himself some room and is nowhere near the ball. I think that India would be happy with 350. Consider their attitude was definitely to go for it. This is the third day now, and only one team's batted. With the potential of the last day being rained out, they need to really get their act together now in terms of time and get South Africa in and take wickets. They need to have South Africa all out today to make this a game. I think India can get South Africa all out for about 200 or thereabouts by the end of the day, or even less. And you're in the box seat. And I think the South African batting line's brittle enough, and the Indian bowling line's good enough with Bumrah, Shami, Siraj, and then you've got Ashwin, who can certainly do damage, and Thakur, who's not shabby either. This Mulder's bowling. This is a tidy line length, which is you want to take wickets here, boys. You don't want to just keep a steady run rate. You want wickets. They're into the 105th over, 2 balls left, 9 for 327. Siraj 4, Bumrah a healthy 14. Siraj facing. Not sure. That's sort of nothing shot, nothing ball. A lot of comments there. I was talking in terms of having great starts to be the international. Utilise their potential. Maxwell, probably in his test career, didn't raise his potential. So India going to misthrow it and test as an opener? Well, in the long term, yes. Short term, not. They've got Agarwal there, who's looking very good, and they've got Gill around Susan though. Rowan will come back and be better than ever. And well, then where will Agarwal play? Really, and Rahani's 48 keeps him in again for a little while, which is annoying. I think Pujara Rahani's days are numbered. Omar, hello, Omar. So 9 for 327 after 105 overs. So they've been out there for 15 overs today, and they're 6 for 55. Run rate slightly better at 3.6. So they haven't exactly hit the world on fire, but that's okay. They really haven't enough time. They've got 2 days play after then they get 3 innings in that time. Bumrah's there. Look, into the 106th over here. 9 for 327. I'd like to see a bit more oomph from the bowling attack. Centurion, a bit of a fortress for South Africa. No, that one's very close. Boomer can't help himself. It's okay. David Gravity was. Well, there we have it. Marco Jensen's taking his first test wicket. He's got Bumrah caught in what looks like fourth slip. India all out for 327. Jensen's got his first test wicket. Congratulations. And I guess that's a bit of a nice ending for his career, for his first match. That was into the 105. So India all out for 327. Let's edit this. Three overs. There we have it. So India all out for 327 of 105.3 overs. Jansen takes his first wicket. So the average first innings wicket total in SuperSport Park is 329. So India got 327, considering they had to rush it through. Fair enough. All down here. Bowen was brilliant. He was very useful English. Should have been picked for next Ashes. Probably will be. Coach will get an extension after Ashes. At this point, Don 007, he's gunning for it, but there's no certainty. Nick Hockley, the CEO, said they're still thinking about what they're going to do. Meaning, I think they're not convinced just yet. So Marco Jansen's got his first test wicket. At least he can be happy about that. 9 for all out, for 327. That was more than he tried to steer it through, and it's gone to what looks like fourth slip, and it was, who caught that? Mulder's caught that at, I think it's fourth. We'll just double check that now. Was that third slip? Mulder at third slip was taking the catch off Jansen's bowling. His first test wicket, being the last of the innings. England are all out for 185 and 68. So 267, but India are all out for 327 into the third day's play, 105.3 overs. Now it's South Africa that will be batting, and this was where the fireworks start. How much do you want to watch, guys? Good to get your first test wicket. As bowled in the first inning, he got 1 for 48, but then he got 6 for 7 in his second inning. So that's a bit of encouragement there for Jensen, taking the 1 wicket in this innings. So India's batting lineup fell away after Rahane and Rahul got out really 8-4-4, 8-14-4. So it wasn't any great scores. So some pretty low scores. So no partnerships of any great note after Rahul and Rahane. Yeah, so they added only, 55 in the last hour. So Marco Jensen took 18.3 overs, 4 maidens, 1 for 69. McGinney took 6 for 71 off 24. Rabada, 3 for 72 off 26. Mulder, 9 for 49, 19. Average, but not good. And Maharaj, disappointing. 18 overs, 2 maidens, 9 for 58. 327 score. So there we have it. So there we have it all to do now on the third day. If they fall quick early, we might have a game, but otherwise it's going to be a fairly tame draw, I'd say. All right, guys, you want me to continue or not? You let me know. What a collapse. Well, it was a collapse, sort of a collapse. They've still got 327 runs, though. Maybe that they were trying to score quickly. India were trying to score quickly. Simple as that. They were not watching England's batting. In fact, the 55 runs has been added today for 6, whereas England was 6 for 37. Yeah, I guess there is a similarity, but they scored 272 runs before that, whereas England were 4 for 31. So you really can't compare it. It's somewhat of a collapse, but yeah, still a fair bit of runs behind on the board there. In fact, guys, we might leave it at that, and we'll come back tomorrow. So, is that okay? Would you like to? What would you like me to hang around? Give me some responses in the messaging, guys. Do you want me to hang around into the India bowling efforts? Question mark. Do you think first-class specialist batters can find success in the T20s? Why not? If you're a good enough batsman, you should be able to play all formats, to be honest. If I'm being really honest with you. That's what I would say. There is a little comment being made about on my little WhatsApp group. There are all the England supporters, England compatriots that work in this channel. Well, not work, but they enjoy being on this channel. Yeah, Root looked very somber in his interview. Have you all seen that, guys? On the interviews that I've got, very somber interview from. He was quite down and out, I guess, is the right way. Sports Tacker Live. So are we. There's been a fair bit of action there with clearly not as much interest as there should have been on the videos for Marcus Harris. Not really well liked, I don't think. So India all out. For 327. I'm waiting on that then to come out to bowl now. Look, Bumrah should love these conditions. I mean, it was a fair bit of cut and paste from the. Okay, should England remove Joe Root as a captain and try a new captain? No, I don't think so. How many times have Australia lost at home in the last 20 years? How many times have they lost at home? Well, they lost only last year against India, didn't they? Not as many as you might think. But yeah, they lost, didn't they, against India? Twice, actually. I think it was another series we lost as well, didn't we? There's been a fair bit of live action from the shorts there. They're coming back out to play. They're India in a huddle. Let's just have a look here. Now, Root won't resign. Root doesn't need to resign. People keep on making about Root resigning. I don't think so. He's the only one that's been actually doing anything that's probably worthwhile. Ligeti certainly is pretty happy with his performance, understandably so. Yeah, but some punts dismissal was very disappointing. Punts dismissal was particularly disappointing. I thought that was fairly ordinary indeed. So let's just see how South Africa play now. Chasing 327. I dare say they're going to be in a bit of bother. A draw now. Too early to say. Let's just see how South Africa bat. Why is it always 1 hour bad show for India? It's 3-6 all that now. This 1 hour game. Oh, no, this wasn't bad. 6:55, okay, but they're 3 for 72. Sugar Daddy, hello, Grandpa. Who the hell's Sugar Daddy? I would like to have Ben Stokes as a captain after Ellison. I haven't seen good captains in such. Well, Ben Stokes may get a go one day, but he's not even vice captain, is he? As far as I'm aware. South Africa. We've got two very capable opening batters here, Markram and Elgar. Both, I would say that they're very capable. Let's look like there. Okay, this is the new look. So, Bumrah's coming on the bowl from the Hanops River end, SuperSport Park. Bumrah's coming in for the first delivery now to Elgar. And he's immediately taking the seam off the mark. It's a pretty impressive start there from Elgar. They're already updating the scoreboard. Their home conditions, don't forget. So, South Africa do know the way from, and we'll go from 1 over. None from 1 from 1. Hold off the Markham to face Bumrah. Ooh, vicious lift there from the first ball, left him. So, prediction: Dean Elgar's trying to jinx it. I don't think so, Don. I hope he doesn't. Okay. Akshay, South Africa 350. Ooh, that's a bit of a big call. Is county system flawed? Oh, somewhat. Okay, predictions. I'm thinking at 220. Oh, that ball jagged back a bucket load. Keeps doing that. Will be some interesting. Again, that jagged back quite considerably. So, Bumrah's already getting plenty of give from this wicket. Markham's not happy with the ball coming back at him twice. And ball jagged back quite a bit. Oh, that came back a truckload. None for 1 in the first over. Watching a couple overs here, guys. Then we're going to cut off. There's only one of you left. You're watching. And Markham's also got himself off the mark. So where are you all gone, guys? You were watching with me then, and are you gone? You're too keen to watch the match. I'm guessing you want to see the bowling of Bumrah. Understandably. So none for 2 from the 1 over. So both openers are off the mark. We're going to see how this goes. I'll watch a couple overs. Watch Elgar bat now facing Bumrah. It looks like he's out. He's taken a wicket. Bumrah's carved right through Elgar, cut him in half, and he's edged the ball to the keeper punt, and he's out. And the wickets have started to fall already, and this looks very ominous. Very, very ominous indeed. 1 for 2. Elgar, the captain and probably the most important bat in the team lineup, is gone. He's cut in half. Yes, he got a big fat edge, the keeper, and that's out. It's going to do some damage here for sure. Yep, 1 for 2. There it is. Oh boy, this doesn't look very. Bombers taking a look at right up front. 1 for 2 from the first over. I think South Africa are going to go 220 mark, maybe too high. The best bowler right now, I think. Well, they're saying Pat Cummins. Boomer's right up there. Yeah, you drink successfully. Got out for 1. Boomer versus Cummins, I think. Yeah, Siraj is certainly up there too. Don't forget. So here we go. 1 for 2. And who's this guy? Peterson. He looks very meek and mild for a first drop batsman. Very short. Millie's Markham looks a bit of height there. So who we got here? Peterson, a right-hand batter. I don't think he's going to last long. It just doesn't look good enough. I'm sorry, his appearance makes me worry. Is he more of an elegant-looking batsman? He looks more like a Keegan Peterson. He's played 3 matches, 4 innings. He's got a total of 44 runs. His best is 19. He's 28 years of age. Ooh, I tell you what, he needs better figures than those to impress me. Boomer in this form. There we go. The first over done. 1 for 2. Elgin got no idea. Elgin going cheaply is a huge wicket. I guessed. All right, so India, South Africa, 1 for 2 after their first over. Elgin gone for 1 caught punt by Boomer for a measly 1. The man who was probably the most important batsman in the team has gone for 1. He's been bored. No movement in his feet at all there. I don't know what he was doing. Boomer's breathing fire. Keegan Peterson, yeah, I've got no idea who he is. He's just Markham's hit a nice ball through the onside. And he can do something. Really, Van der Hoesten's not much good. I think he's overrated as well. Well, there we are. Peterson's decided to hit a nice time. Markham, I should say, hit a 4 off Siraj. Ball a bit full. Right, in the middle on slot, and he just played a nice little, that was a good little onside shot there. Markham's quality. He's been around for a while now, and he's shown that he can bat. 1 for 6 from in the second over now. So 1 for 6 into the second. Siraj looks a bit wayward early on. Who's the current coach of South Africa? I think it's Mark Boucher. Boucher, the former keeper with the most catches, dismissals actually in the world. Boucher, Mark Boucher. Pretty short. 1 for 6. So Ahmed Siraj has played 11 matches now with 33 wickets. Pretty damn good effort. Watch a little bit and then we'll go off this. Mark and letting the ball go there. Actually, guys, I might call it quits now. This is almost 2 hours worth of viewing. You've had plenty of action. You've seen South Africa get India all out 327 after a 6 for 55 morning. It's now 1 for 6. We've seen Elgar, the most important batsman in the South African side, fall to a great ball by Bumrah. I don't think Siraj should have, maybe Sharma should have, but we'll see how that goes. It's now almost 18 to 9. And there's a bit of carry on there, but that being a LBW chance. No, they're only between wickets, so it looks like Darius, they're not taking it. 1 for 6. Looks like it's off the 2 overs. So 1 for 6 off the 2 overs. So back to Bumrah. Could be a bit of fireworks this over. So Markham was on 5, Elgar out for 1, Bumrah 1 for 2, 1 for 6 to score. I'm going to get him at 6 for 71, Rabada 3 for 72. Marco Jansen got his first wicket, 1 for 69. Caught by Mulder, a third slip. Here we go. Bumrah to this Peterson fella. What happened there? $140 kilometres per hour. That was a pretty good pace. Into the third over now. Let's see how Peterson can handle Bumrah. No, nothing about this Peterson at all. He doesn't look much chopped to me, I'm afraid to say. It was very full and didn't seem to bounce at all. It almost rolled. What are the balls? It just kept on coming. It was a good delivery, but relatively well played. Into the third over here. I think I might. Okay, guys, it's just gone 2 hours now. We'll finish Bumrah's over. If Peterson doesn't get out, we're going to finish up. 1 for 6 into the third over. One for 6 into the third over. So one wicket falls, 2 wicket when we fall. So is it out? No, good night. We're the first Asia team to conquer Senna if they win here. That's true. Let's have a look here. At this over, we're going to finish up. So view, like, and share the post, guys. View, like, and share the post. Make sure you subscribe. Notification. Twitter handle is there for Instagram and Twitter. Norman Koshek's there for LinkedIn and for Facebook. This last ball will be it, and we'll finish with South Africa 1 for 6 after 3 overs. Can Bumrah get rid of Peterson? Yeah, Peterson's just surviving, trying. He doesn't look very competent. He doesn't look like a batsman who's going to bat number 3 for South Africa, especially after an Umla type player. And he played that shot pretty well. There we are. Okay. I'll end the broadcast now. So don't forget to view, like, and share. See you guys tomorrow.